Throughout the years, Dragon Ball has introduced us to some of the most iconic characters within the franchise, with many fighters not having to be the main star of the show, and with that, since the inception of the show, Dragon Ball has given us the likes of Piccolo, in which had both ups and downs throughout the franchise, but up until this very point, people have stopped and asked the question, can Piccolo achieve a god form? It was never stated in the series that only Goku and Vegeta are exclusive to obtaining God Ki, as the show never only referred to them as being the only ones that can reach such levels of power. However, it was also never given to us that other races couldn't reach the same level of power or higher to that of a Super Saiyan God, as an example of this was shown by various characters introduced in Dragon Ball Super, such as Golden Frieza, Goku Black, Hit, and Merge Zamasu, who were all seen to match and rival Super Saiyan God Ki in some way, shape, or form. In Dragon Ball Heroes, however, the Namekian race actually does have a god form equivalent to that of a Super Saiyan God by method of giving them a god class upgrade. However, given that the Dragon Ball video games and the Dragon Ball TV show have no direct correlation to one another, in this video here today, we're going to be looking at 3 reasons as to why Piccolo will never have a god form in Dragon Ball Super. Reasoning number 1, purpose of achievement. You would think by now, having to see both Goku and Vegeta struggle in battle against the likes of Goku Black and Hit, that someone would traditionally step in, as once did before, to provide aid and support for our heroes. However, since the time of Dragon Ball Super, it's only been mainly centered around Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta having to train with gods to further their powers makes the most sense, since they are the only two who have strived to become stronger. But what about Piccolo? At this very point, unless by some chance both Goku and Vegeta were to be wiped out in some horrific act of genocide, are we ever going to see the likes of the secondary characters step in and have the spotlight? Now, you might be wondering to yourself as to what exactly do I mean by that. Well, if you go back even to the Majin Buu saga, when both Vegeta and Goku were absent in fighting Super Buu, we saw the likes of Piccolo and Gotenks who had the spotlight in fighting Super Buu, overshadowing the main characters of the show and giving them the spotlight for a change. So in retrospect, to give Piccolo such a powerful transformation would mean the absence of both Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super, or at least for the time being, because having Goku and Vegeta there presently, if Piccolo were to achieve a god form, would diminish Piccolo, because what would be the purpose of having 3 people showcase god forms if one of the forms can't be utilized fully, with the other 2 characters, that being Goku and Vegeta, having to overshadow what Piccolo just accomplished? I feel as if Piccolo were to have some sort of a god form, you would have to have Goku and Vegeta be absent for that in order for Piccolo's form to showcase and stand out that much more. But even then, would it really even matter? How would Piccolo even achieve such a power without it having to be a complete asspull? I mean, we've already seen enough of those in Dragon Ball Super, so what would be his purpose in having such a power if Goku and Vegeta are vastly superior to him? Not saying that if he did have a god form that he would be beneath Goku and Vegeta, but judging based on how hard Goku and Vegeta have trained and worked hard to achieve this, it would be pointless in seeing Piccolo achieve the same level of power, especially as of now, in which we've seen Piccolo not really do much in Dragon Ball Super. Reasoning number 2, source of achievement. If Piccolo were to honestly obtain an ancient Namekian god form, one of the main points in which must make sense in the show is having a source to this power. We learned of what it took to create a Super Saiyan God via infusing several Saiyans' energy onto a host, and with Super Saiyan Blue also being achieved by training with the likes of Whis, so a source to Piccolo achieving such a power would either have to come from training with Whis directly, or some unknown chart which gives us an idea as to how Namekian God power would even work. Would Piccolo even have to train with Whis to achieve such a form? If so, don't you guys think Piccolo would have already done so? Is he not qualified to train with the likes of gods? Or does Piccolo simply refuse to even do so? Having Piccolo explore the likes of Namek more and learning about such power through his own people would make the most sense, but even now, Dragon Ball Super hasn't given us much hope in seeing Piccolo do much within the show, other than babysitting, doing favors, and participating in a few tournaments here and there. Reason number 3, storyline. For Piccolo to achieve a new level of power, the likes in which nobody has ever seen before, the storyline for this to happen would have to fit the transformation entirely. You can't just have Piccolo spar with some random Joe and having him erupt in rage and burst out a new god form, or be shown fighting someone stronger than him getting beat to the point where he even transforms in anger. That just wouldn't make any sense. Piccolo, logically speaking, has no real placement in Dragon Ball Super as of now, but having him involved in some sort of a side story of having him find out whether or not he is truly capable of achieving such powers would make the most sense. But even then, how would Piccolo, out of all characters, fit in such a role of having him take center stage, even if it's for just a moment. And sure enough, Piccolo is an absolutely great fighter. He is great when it comes to strategy and planning out his attacks, but overall having Piccolo achieve such a thing doesn't seem logical in Dragon Ball Super, because if you go back and you look at all the things that Piccolo has done so far in comparison to Dragon Ball Z, in Dragon Ball Z during the Cell Saga, during the Android Saga, during the Majin Buu Saga, we saw Piccolo involved in some way, shape, or form. Even during the Saiyan and Frieza Saga, mostly every saga that was involved in Dragon Ball Z, we saw how Piccolo had some involvement in any way, shape, or form, whereas in Dragon Ball Super thus far, aside from the Universal Tournament and the Tournament of Power, we haven't seen Piccolo literally do anything. He wasn't there to aid Goku or Vegeta in fighting Goku Black and Zamasu. He didn't really do much during the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament. He didn't compete against Frieza. He never really truly had a battle against Beerus. He never trained with the gods. He didn't do anything. So for those who are wondering if Piccolo can achieve such a form, I do think it is possible, but I do think as of now it wouldn't make sense for Piccolo to have such a thing happen, because number one, he isn't training with the gods to further his power. Number two, he isn't exploring on whether or not such an option is possible. And number three, as of now, he seems to be a bit complacent in having to just cater around and just stick around by and being a babysitter and a helping hand to others. And the proof is in the pudding literally when you go back and you see how Bulma was forced to have Piccolo take cell phone footage of the Mafuba technique. We saw how Piccolo was babysitting. We see how Piccolo doesn't really have that big of a role in being a fighter. However, that can ultimately change in the direction of Dragon Ball Super, as it does constantly change. But I also do believe that secondary characters such as Piccolo, such as Goten and Trunks, such as Gohan should have more involvement in Dragon Ball Super, but I don't think that it's possible as of now for Piccolo to achieve such a form, as it wouldn't make any sense. And having to look at Dragon Ball Heroes, the games don't really connect to the actual show, so it wouldn't make sense for them to easily give Piccolo some sort of a god power if it wouldn't stand out in the show. The point of having secondary characters reach such high levels of power wouldn't really be too bad for the show, but if you have each individual character such as Piccolo, such as Gohan, such as Trunks and others achieve a similar power to that of God Ki, then it diminishes the overall exclusive nature of that form, as now everyone is able to achieve the exact same thing, i.e. going back to Super Saiyan, as we saw Goku achieve Super Saiyan followed by Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan. It was a Super Saiyan sausage fest with everyone achieving Super Saiyan, and thus the Super Saiyan transformation was not exclusive to a certain character, but now made available for everybody, as even the kids such as Goten and Trunks were also able to learn of that form. And having to look back on Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, we understand that Super Saiyan God was only made available for Goku in the anime, and of course in the manga it differs, with Super Saiyan Blue also having to be exclusive to Goku and Vegeta in two characters bearing God Ki. So if we have other characters such as Piccolo be introduced to God Ki, who's to say that other characters such as Gohan, Trunks, and others can also achieve something similar? And surely enough, Piccolo deserves something more than having to be recognized as a babysitter, but I do think as of right now, until we go further into the show and we find out the overall plans for Piccolo, only then can we have a decisive answer on whether or not he will be able to achieve a higher power than what he has now. But even with that, having Piccolo train with Whis seems a little unlikely as of right now, and of course having Piccolo travel back to Namek and looking back on the ancient Namekians and seeing what he can figure out seems to be a bit too far off, although I would love for the concept and idea in Piccolo having to finally catch up, even if he's slightly below Goku and Vegeta, at least making him relevant again within the show would be highly important. But of course as of now, Dragon Ball Super may have other plans for Piccolo, but there is no logical sense in having Piccolo achieve this god form, although you can go back to Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Heroes and other concepts of Dragon Ball other than the main continuity and saying that yeah, Piccolo may have a god form there, but when it comes to Akira Toriyama's main canon of Dragon Ball, it'll be a slim to none chance in seeing Piccolo also obtain God Ki. But then again, as we've seen with other characters such as Frieza, Hit, Goku Black, and Merge Zamasu, there are other characters out there that can contend with the likes of Super Saiyan Blue and its God Ki, so who's to really say at this point if Piccolo can achieve something that can rival that? But post your comments down below. What are your overall thoughts on there possibly being a new Namekian form for Piccolo? Do you think that'll make sense? And do you think it makes sense for Piccolo to also bear that of God Ki? Do you think he deserves it? And what are your overall thoughts on the character in general? He's not a dumb character, he's a very lovable character, and he is a very memorable character stemming back to the original Dragon Ball. So post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, don't forget to subscribe for all the latest Dragon Ball news, information, updates, and discussions. If you guys love Dragon Ball, don't forget to go on ahead and slap a like down below. Tune back in for more. I'm gonna end this off with a personal opinion of mine on Piccolo. I personally believe, after having a look back on Dragon Ball Z, after seeing how much courage Piccolo had to stand up against Frieza, stand up against Cell, stand up against 17, even the likes of Super Buu, Piccolo at that time had so much potential to grow, and now seeing him become a babysitter, someone who just sits back and doesn't do anything in Dragon Ball Super, kind of upsets me, because even back in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, we saw how important Piccolo was to the story, to the overall development of even other characters as well, the merger of Kami and him having to make sacrifices for Gohan, and now Piccolo just isn't the same character. And I personally feel that although he does not deserve a God form, because that'll diminish the overall essence of God Ki, I do believe that Piccolo should be relevant again in having his power increase unlike ever before, and I do believe that Piccolo does deserve a chance. And seeing what happened during the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament against Frost really upset me, because even during that time, Piccolo had an opportunity to shine, but they dropped the ball on him. So post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.